Landlord is jealous of my income, raises my rent $500. I screw him years later for $20. KL landlord is jealous of my income, raises my rent 50%. I screw him years later for $20. K. All names have been changed. In the late Monchtown and his wife and I were just married, just getting started, and we decided to dinkin. Double income, no kids. It for a few years to save up for a down payment on a house. The dot and bubble was still rising, and I was a newly minted software developer. I had an entry-level job for a while and then got recruited to a new city in a new job that paid 3 times what I was making before. It was an offer too good to pass up. I ran the numbers, and it was a no-brainer. By living frugally and saving my entire salary, living off just our income, we would easily have enough in a year to put 20% down payment on a new house. We rented an apartment in the new city that was listed for $950 mo. The landlord was a real estate agent who owned a 2-bedroom condo as an investment property. Let's call him Hank Wazowski. Hank was a thin, gray, no-nonsense guy. He was pleasant enough but perfunctory, dry, and had no sense of humor. He made a point of explaining that under no circumstances was he responsible for maintaining the garbage disposal and that it was not included in the rental agreement, and he would not be responsible for fixing it were it to break. McKay, he seemed slightly amused by us, a clueless young newlywed couple, but I could tell he wanted to rent to us because we were very obviously a safe choice as renters. We filled out the rental agreement and the credit check, and this is where my troubles began. Hank looked hard at the credit application where I listed my job title, Emboss Software Rep, and my income, $75 K. For a 23-year-old in his second year out of college, in the late 1990s, this is a small fortune. Flaw in my wife's salary, and we were over 6 figures in income, renting an apartment far beneath our means. Like I said, dink is the way to go when starting out. I can believe how much money you make, Hank must have said half a dozen times, muttering under his breath. I explained we were saving to buy a house and that we were only going to stay in the apartment a year. We might stay a few months after the term is over. Would month to month be okay after a year? Hank assured us that would be fine. We saw Hank only once during the year, and he again mentioned my salary and how he couldn't believe that what software developers were making. It was awkward, and I gave a vague reply. Anyway, a year later, we had found a house to buy, signed all the papers, and were making plans to move. The new house wasn't going to be ready until 2 months after our rental lease was up, so I called Hank to ask if we could, as discussed, simply extend the lease by 2 months before moving out. Hank assured me on the phone it would be no problem and he would send over an extension for us to sign. The extension arrived in the mail and it included a month-to-month clause and asterisk $500 increase sign in the rent.